Next time you are on the highway, look at the truck next to you. Ideally, don't look too long. Truckers don't like to be stared at. But look at the trailer. That long, metal box. It's locked. It's sealed. It could be carrying apples. It could be carrying TVs. Or it could be carrying something that breathes. My name is Jack. I've been driving 18-wheelers for 30 years. I've hauled everything from timber to toxic waste. But tonight is different. Because for the first time in my life, I don't know what's in the back, and I'm terrified to find out. I sat in Joe's Diner off Interstate 10. The coffee tasted like burnt rubber. But it was hot. Outside, the rain was coming down in sheets. I looked out the window at my rig. The Beast. I call her. A Peterbilt 379. Black paint. Chrome stacks. She's old. Like me. Her joints creak. And she drinks too much fuel. But she's the only home I have left. Tonight, she looked ominous under the flickering parking lot lights. Like a hearse the size of a whale. I checked my watch. 11:55 p.m. He was late. The diner was quiet, just the hum of the refrigerator and the sizzle of the grill. A couple of other drivers were hunched over their plates in the corner. We didn't speak. On the road, silence is the language. You learn to read eyes. Tired eyes. Lonely eyes. Crazy eyes. I rubbed my face. My hands were rough, stained with grease that never washes off. I shouldn't be doing this. I promised my wife I'd go legit. No more off-book runs. But my wife is gone. And the bills. The bills are still here. I pulled the envelope out of my pocket. St. Mary's Hospital. Final notice. My daughter, Sarah. The surgery was successful, but the recovery is expensive. $50,000. I looked at her photo in my wallet. She was smiling, missing a front tooth. For her, I would drive through hell. For her, I would carry the devil's luggage. That's what I told myself. But deep down, I knew, desperation makes you blind. And tonight, I was flying blind. Then, the door opened. A gust of cold wind and rain blew in. He stepped inside. He didn't look like a trucker. He wore a charcoal suit that cost more than my truck. His shoes were polished. Despite the mud outside, he scanned the room. His eyes landed on me. Cold, dead eyes. Like a shark in a suit. He walked over and slid into the booth opposite me. He didn't order coffee. He just placed a heavy metal briefcase on the table. "Jack," he said. His voice was soft, like sand on silk. "You come highly recommended." "Mr. V," I nodded. "That's the only name I had." "Straight to business," he said. He opened the briefcase just an inch. Inside, I saw stacks of cash. Used bills. Non-sequential. 20 now. 30 upon delivery. 50,000. Exactly what I owed the hospital. He knew. They always know. "What's the cargo?" I asked. Mr. V smiled. It was a thin, humorless line. Specialized equipment. Very fragile. Very sensitive to light. He slid a folder across the table. "Do we have an accord?" I reached for the envelope. The paper felt heavy. I knew this was dirty money. Blood money. I told myself I was just the driver. I wasn't the one pulling the trigger or selling the drugs. I'm just the logistics. But as I touched the cash, a chill ran up my arm. Mr. V closed the briefcase. "The money comes with conditions. Jack. 3 rules. Non-negotiable." He leaned forward. The smell of expensive cologne mixed with the smell of old grease. "Listen carefully. I will not repeat myself. Rule number 1. The wheels must keep turning. From here to El Paso. You do not stop. Not for food. Not for gas. Not for the bathroom. You have extra fuel tanks. Use them. If the GPS shows you are stationary for more than 10 minutes, the deal is off. And when I say the deal is off, he paused, looking at the photo of my daughter that I had left on the table. I mean the debt collection agency takes over. I swallowed hard. I understand. I said, express delivery. Rule number 2. The seal. He placed a key on the table. Attached to it was a red lead seal. The container is locked. It is sealed with a lead tag. You do not open it. You do not check the cargo. If the seal is broken upon arrival, you don't get the rest of the money. And, Jack, his voice dropped to a whisper. Whatever you hear from back there, ignore it. Here? I asked. I thought you said it was equipment. Equipment shifts. Jack, loose parts rattle. Just drive. Rule number 3. The escort. He pointed out the window. Across the parking lot, in the darkest corner, sat a black sedan. Tinted windows. Engine running. No lights. My associates will be following you. To ensure the safety of the cargo. Do not wave at them. Do not try to lose them. Think of them as your guardian angels. Only these angels carry silencers. As long as you follow the rules. They are invisible. Break the rules, and you will meet them. I looked at the black car. It looked like a shark waiting in deep water. Mr. V stood up and buttoned his jacket. El Paso. Sunrise. Don't be late. He walked out into the rain without looking back. I sat there for a moment, looking at the money, looking at the key. Then I grabbed them. I ran out to the beast. I climbed into the cab. It smelled of stale tobacco and old leather. My smell. I put the key in the ignition. The engine roared to life, shaking the whole frame. I released the air brakes. I pulled out onto the highway, the heavy trailer dragging behind me. In the rearview mirror, I saw the black sedan pull out too. The nightmare had begun. Interstate 10 is a lonely stretch of hell at night. Just miles of asphalt and desert scrub. No street lights. Just the cat's eyes on the road reflecting my headlights. I settled into the rhythm. Gear 10. 65 miles per hour. The beast was humming, but I couldn't relax. Every time I looked in the mirror, they were there. Two dim yellow eyes in the darkness. The black sedan. They matched my speed perfectly. If I sped up, they sped up. If I slowed down, they slowed down. Mr. V wasn't joking. They were glued to me. I tried to think about the money. 50,000. Sarah can walk again. She can go to college. I tried to think about retirement. Maybe buy a small fishing boat. But my mind kept drifting to the cargo. Specialized equipment, he said. Fragile. Why would equipment need an armed escort? Why did the trailer feel heavier than usual? The beast usually pulls smooth. But tonight, she felt sluggish, like she didn't want to go forward. Like she knew something I didn't. Around mile marker 140. The road turned to garbage. Potholes everywhere. Construction zones left abandoned. The truck bounced violently. Bam! Bam! I gripped the steering wheel tight, fighting to keep her straight. Sorry, old girl, I whispered. From the back, I heard loud noises. Things falling, crashing against the metal walls. Shit, I cursed. There goes the fragile equipment. If I broke the cargo, I wouldn't get paid, but I couldn't stop. Rule number 1. The road smoothed out again, but the noise in the back didn't stop immediately. It continued for a few seconds. Thump. Scuffle. Thump. It sounded strange. When boxes fall, they hit the floor and stop. Bang. Done. This sound. It rolled. It slid. It sounded soft, like sacks of potatoes. Or, no, don't think about it. Just drive. The wind picked up outside. A desert storm was brewing. It howled through the gap between the cab and the trailer. But underneath the wind, I heard something else. High-pitched, constant, like a whine, or a whistle. It was coming from right behind my head, through the back wall of the cab. I turned down the radio. I held my breath. Was it a loose strap? A bearing going bad? Then I heard it clearly. Scritch. Scratch. Scritch. It wasn't mechanical. It was frantic, like a branch scraping against a window pane. But there were no trees out here. It was coming from inside the trailer. Someone, or something, was scratching at the front wall of the container. Right behind my seat, trying to get out, or trying to get my attention. It's rats, I said aloud. Just big desert rats got in the cargo. I laughed nervously. Yeah, rats eating the wires. I turned the radio back up. Classic rock, Led Zeppelin, anything to drown it out. Mr. V said, "Whatever you hear, ignore it." He knew exactly what was back there. And he knew I would hear it. That's why he paid me 50 grand. Not for driving, but for my silence. But the scratching stopped, and replaced by thumping. Thump, thump, thump. Pause. Thump, thump, thump. Rhythmic. Deliberate. Rats don't knock in rhythm. Loose boxes don't knock in rhythm. That is a signal. Someone is knocking. Someone is asking. Is anyone out there? My hands started to shake on the wheel. The beast swerved slightly into the shoulder lane. Then, clear as day, a voice, muffled by the steel, but undeniable. Stop. It sounded like a woman. Or a young boy. I couldn't tell. It was filled with panic. Terror. Please, let us out. It's hot. My heart hammered against my ribs. It's hot? Of course it's hot. It's a sealed metal box in the desert. And the ventilation. I looked at the control panel. The trailer refrigeration unit was off. I wasn't told to turn it on. Panic set in. If the vents are closed, and the seal is tight, they are running out of air. The thumping got louder, more desperate. Bang, bang, bang. They weren't just knocking anymore. They were fighting for their lives. I looked in the rearview mirror. The black sedan was still there, watching. If I stop, they kill me. If I keep driving, I kill the people in the back. $50,000. That's the price of my soul. I tried to do the math. A standard trailer is roughly 3.000 cubic feet. If there are 20 people back there, maybe they have 5 hours of air. But if there are 50? Or 100? And panic. Panic makes you breathe faster. It uses up oxygen twice as fast. The banging was getting weaker. They were getting tired. Or they were passing out. Hold on, I whispered. Just hold on. I pushed the gas pedal. The beast roared, pushing 80 miles per hour. I broke the speed limit. I didn't care about the cops anymore. I wanted the cops. Then, fate decided to intervene. Boom! A massive explosion from the rear right side. The steering wheel jerked violently from my hands. The beast lurched towards the guardrail. No, not now, I screamed, fighting the wheel with my old aching arms. It wasn't a slow leak. It was a blowout. The trailer started to fishtail, dragging the cab with it. I slammed on the brakes, trying to keep us from flipping over. Smoke and sparks flew up in the rearview mirror. I managed to regain control, but the tire was shredded. I couldn't drive on the rim. Up ahead, a flickering sign. Desert Rose Rest Area 1 mile. It looked abandoned. Dark windows. Graffiti on the walls. But I had no choice. I pulled the beast off the highway, limping into the dark parking lot. The engine idled down, panting like a dying animal. Silence returned, but not for long. I looked in the mirror. The black sedan pulled in right behind me, blocking my exit. They didn't park in a spot. They parked diagonally, aggressive. The headlights stayed on for a moment, illuminating the rain, then cut off. I sat there in the dark cab, gripping a tire iron under my seat. My heart was beating so hard it hurt my chest. Rule number 1. Do not stop. I just broke it. I had to act normal. I grabbed my heavy flashlight and the tire iron. I tucked the iron into the back of my belt, hidden under my jacket. I opened the door and climbed down. The rain was freezing. The desert wind cut through my flannel shirt. I walked to the back of the trailer, towards the blown tire. I didn't look at the sedan, but I could feel their eyes on my back, like crosshairs. The tire was gone, just shredded rubber hanging off the rim. The rim itself was bent. This wasn't a quick fix. I needed to change the whole wheel. It would take me 30 minutes. Maybe more in this rain. I shined my light on the undercarriage. And then I saw it. A glint of metal embedded in the remaining rubber. It wasn't a nail. It was a caltrop. A metal spike designed to pop tires. It wasn't an accident. Someone put it on the road back there.
Talk it like you walk it, man.
I stood up, pretending to stretch my back. I leaned against the side of the trailer, right where the seal was. I could hear them clearly now. Not banging. They were too weak for that. Just whimpering, coughing. Mama. A tiny voice said, "I'm thirsty." My stomach twisted. These weren't just migrants. These were kids. Mister. V sent me to deliver a coffin full of children. I heard a car door close. Footsteps approached. Slow, confident. I turned around, keeping the flashlight beam low. A man was standing there, holding a black umbrella. He wasn't Mr. V, he was younger, bigger. He wore a suit that was too tight across the shoulders. He didn't look at the tire. He looked at me. His face was blank, like a mannequin. "Problem, driver?" he asked. His hand was in his jacket pocket. "Blowout," I said, keeping my voice steady. "Hit something on the road." I kicked the shredded rubber. "Need to change it. Take about 20 minutes. The man stepped closer. He was inside my personal space now. I could smell mint and gun oil. "You stopped," he said. "Rule number 1. Can't drive on 3 wheels." I argued. "Unless you want the cargo in a ditch." He stared at me for a long time. Rain dripped from his umbrella onto my face. He was checking for fear. "Fix it," he said. 10 minutes. Or we find a new driver." He turned to walk away, then stopped. He looked at the trailer, specifically at the vent. "Did you hear anything, Jack?" he asked without looking at me. I gripped the tire iron behind my back. My knuckles turned white. "Hear what?" I lied. "Just the tire popping." He smiled. "It was terrifying." "Good. Because the desert creates echoes. Hearing things that aren't there. That's how people get lost out here. Forever." He walked back to the sedan and leaned against the hood, watching me. I looked at the wheel. A semi-truck tire assembly weighs over 200 pounds. You need a hydraulic jack. You need an impact wrench. I had a manual jack and a tire iron. Changing this in the rain takes an hour for a young man. For an old man with a bad back? It's impossible. The man in the suit knows this. He gave me 10 minutes not because he wants it fixed. He gave me 10 minutes to say my prayers. They aren't going to let me leave El Paso. Dead or alive. This is my last ride. Cough. Cough. The sound came from the vent again. Louder this time. It sounded just like Sarah when she had pneumonia. That small, helpless sound. I gripped the tire iron until my knuckles hurt. I failed my wife. I wasn't there when she died. I almost failed my daughter. But I will be damned if I fail these kids. If I'm going to die in a parking lot, I'm taking this cheap suit with me. I watched his reflection in the wet chrome of the hubcap. He was standing 6 feet behind me, too far to hit with the iron. He had a hand in his pocket, probably on a gun. If I turn around aggressive, he shoots. I need to surprise him. Or I need to blind him. The heavy flashlight in my left hand. It's solid brass. 4D batteries. It's not a tool. It's a club. I pretended to slip. I dropped to one knee and let out a groan, clutching my chest. "Hey," the man shouted, instinct kicking in. He stepped closer. Just a few steps. He pulled his hand out of his pocket, not holding a gun yet, just reaching to check if his driver was dying before the job was done. "Get up, old man," he spat. He was 3 feet away. He leaned over slightly. That was my window. I didn't stand up. I swung from the ground. I whipped the heavy flashlight upward with my left hand. It connected squarely with his jaw. Crack. He staggered back, dropping his umbrella. He didn't go down, but he was stunned. I didn't wait to see if he was okay. I scrambled up and ran. Not at him. Towards the cab. 50 feet. It felt like a mile. He recovered faster than I thought. I heard the pop before I felt the impact. A bullet sparked off the handrail, inches from my fingers. I threw myself into the cab, scraping my shin on the metal steps. Another shot shattered the side mirror. Glass sprayed into my hair. I slammed the door shut and locked it. My hands were shaking so bad I dropped the keys. The keys were on the floor mat. Somewhere in the dark, outside, the man was at the door. He was pounding on the glass with the butt of his gun. Thud, thud, thud. Open the door. Jack, you're a dead man. I felt around blindly on the floor. Old burger wrappers. Receipts. Then. Cool metal. I grabbed the keys. I jammed the key into the ignition and turned. The beast groaned. "Come on, girl. Don't fail me now." The engine caught. The whole cab vibrated. The side window was cracking. Spiderwebs were spreading across the glass where he was hitting it. One more hit and he's inside. I didn't wait for the air pressure to build up. I jammed it into gear and stomped on the gas. The truck lurched forward. The man jumped off the step just in time to avoid being crushed by the rear wheels. But I wasn't free yet. The black sedan was parked right in front of me, blocking the exit. I didn't brake. The beast weighs 30.000 pounds empty. That sedan weighs 2. I rammed it. Crunch. Metal screamed as I pushed the black car out of the way like a toy. Glass shattered. The sedan spun into the darkness. I hit the highway ramp. The truck listed heavily to the right. I had no tire on the back right wheel, just the steel rim. It screamed against the asphalt, sending showers of sparks into the night. The vibration rattled my teeth. I checked the mirror. The man in the suit was running back to his smashed car. It was still drivable. One headlight was gone, But the engine was running. He wasn't giving up. The race was on. But I was running on a broken leg. I pushed the beast to 70. She was shaking like a leaf. The sedan with the smashed front was falling behind. Good. But then, bright LED lights appeared on the on-ramp ahead. A black SUV. No plates. It merged onto the highway and matched my speed instantly. Mr. V's guardian angels traveled in packs. The SUV pulled up alongside my cab. The window rolled down. I saw the barrel of a submachine gun. They didn't shoot. Not yet. They wanted to stop me. Not kill the cargo. The SUV swerved hard, slamming into the side of my cab. Bam! The impact nearly knocked the wheel out of my hands. The beast groaned. They were trying to push me off the road, into the ditch. But they forgot physics. I have mass. I turned the wheel into them. You want to dance? Let's dance.
No!
I grabbed the CB radio mic with one hand. Mayday. Mayday. This is Jack on I-10 East. I am under attack. Need assistance. Static. Just white noise. Usually, this channel is full of truckers chatting. Tonight, silence. Are they jamming it, or am I just in a dead zone? The SUV hit me again. Harder this time. Sparks from my rim were blinding the driver behind me. But the SUV kept coming. The driving was violent, swerving, banging. The people in the back, they were being tossed around like dolls in a washing machine. I could hear them screaming now. Terrified screams. I'm sorry, I yelled, tears mixing with the sweat on my face. I'm trying to save you. But they couldn't hear me. They just knew the world was ending inside that dark box. The vibration was getting worse. The steel rim was grinding down, changing shape. It wasn't round anymore. It was becoming an oval. Every rotation felt like a hammer hitting the chassis. Thud, 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 thud. If the rim breaks, the axle breaks. If the axle breaks, we flip, and everyone dies. I looked at the speedometer. 75. Hold together. Girl, just a few more miles. They realized pushing me wasn't working. So they started shooting. They aimed for the front tires. The steering tires. If they blow a steer tire at this speed, I lose control instantly. I saw the muzzle flashes from the SUV window. I swerved left and right, weaving across the lanes like a drunkard, trying to make myself a moving target. A bullet hit the hood. Ping. Another hit the windshield, spider webbing the glass right in front of my face. They were right on my tail now, getting ready for a clear shot. I looked in the mirror. The SUV was drafting me. Inches from my bumper. I didn't think. I acted. I slammed on the brakes. Hard. The beast locked up. Smoke poured from the tires. The SUV driver didn't react in time. He slammed into the heavy steel bar of my rear bumper. His hood crumpled like paper. I floored the gas again. Pulling away. The SUV was damaged. Radiator steaming. It swerved. Lost traction on the wet road. It spun out of control. I watched in the mirror as it smashed into the concrete divider. Sparks showered the highway. It came to a stop facing the wrong way. One down. But the sedan. The man in the suit. He was still back there. And he looked angry. The adrenaline was fading. Pain rushed in to fill the void. My arms felt like lead. My chest was tight. I'm too old for this. My vision started to blur at the edges. I blinked, trying to clear the sweat from my eyes. Was that a light ahead? Or just my dying brain playing tricks? I saw police lights, blue and red. Relief washed over me. But as I got closer, the relief turned to ice. They weren't police cars. They were construction vehicles. Amber lights, not blue, blocking the road, and standing in front of them were men with rifles. It wasn't a police roadblock. It was Mr. V's cleanup crew. They knew I was coming. They set a trap. I had nowhere to go. I saw the roadblock. 200 yards ahead. Wooden barriers. 2 pickup trucks parked sideways. Men with rifles. The black sedan was behind me. The roadblock in front. I had 2 choices. Stop and die. And everyone in the back dies too. Or, I looked at the photo of Sarah on the dash. Forgive me, baby. I whispered. I didn't slow down. I downshifted. The engine screamed as the RPMs redlined. The beast surged forward. 80, 85 miles per hour. 30 tons of steel turned into a missile. The men at the roadblock realized what I was doing. They stopped shooting. They started running. They scattered like cockroaches when the light turns on. But the trucks couldn't move. I braced for impact. Crash. It felt like hitting a brick wall. My seatbelt cut into my chest. My head snapped back against the headrest. The beast plowed through the wooden barriers like matchsticks. The bull bar on the front of my truck slammed into the side of the first pickup. It folded in half. The fuel tank ruptured. A fireball erupted in my rearview mirror, painting the night orange. We burst through the other side of the flames. The windshield was cracked. Smoke filled the cab. I was alive. The beast was limping badly now. The front left tire had blown during the impact. Now I was running on 2 rims. Steering was almost impossible. The wheel fought me every inch of the way. But I was through. The road ahead was clear. I looked back. The roadblock was burning, but one car made it through. The black sedan. The man in the suit. His car was damaged. The front end was smashed from when I hit him earlier. But he was still coming. He was relentless. Like a Terminator. He pulled up alongside my crippled truck. He wasn't shooting anymore. He was trying to pit maneuver me. Flip me over. He slammed into my front wheel. The beast swerved violently toward the shoulder. Beyond the shoulder was a steep embankment. A 50-foot drop into a dry riverbed. If we go over, we all die. I fought the wheel, my muscles screaming. Blood from a cut on my forehead was dripping into my eyes, blinding me. Not today. I gritted my teeth. Not today, you bastard. He hit me again, trying to finish it, but this time, I was ready. I waited for the impact. And the moment he hit, I turned into him. I put all my weight, all the beast's weight, into a hard left turn. It was suicide, a move that would flip us both. The sedan crushed under my front bumper like a soda can. But the momentum was too much. The beast tilted, past the point of no return. The world started to spin. Asphalt, sky, asphalt, sky. The noise was deafening. Steel screaming against concrete. The trailer slammed onto its side, sliding down the highway in a shower of sparks. My head hit the roof of the cab. Then, darkness. Slowly, consciousness returned. I was hanging upside down. The seatbelt was the only thing holding me. Pain everywhere. My arm was broken. I could feel the bone grating. The cab was crushed around me. I could smell diesel fuel leaking. I tried to move, but couldn't. I listened. Silence. No more engines. No more gunshots. Did I do it? Did I stop them? Then, I heard it, faintly, through the wrecked fuselage. Knock, knock, from the trailer. They survived the crash. And then, another sound, in the distance. WHEOOP, WHEOOP. Sirens. Real police sirens this time. The crash must have been seen for miles. They were coming. The silence was heavy, wet. I wasn't dead, but I wished I was. I hung upside down in the crushed cab. My seatbelt was digging into my stomach like a knife. I looked at my leg. My left shin bone was sticking out through my jeans. White bone against dark denim. It wasn't bleeding much. That was the scary part. The pain hadn't registered yet. Just a cold, sick feeling in my gut. The smell of diesel fuel was overwhelming. It was soaking into my clothes. One spark, and I become a candle. I unbuckled the belt and fell onto the roof of the cab. I screamed. The pain in my leg finally woke up. I dragged myself through the shattered window into the mud. Right next to me was the Black Sedan. Or what was left of it. It was flattened under the engine block of the beast. I saw the man in the suit. He wasn't terrifying anymore. He was compressed, like a tube of toothpaste squeezed too hard. His eyes were open, staring at me. One eye was popping out. His expensive suit was mixed with twisted metal and fluids. Red fluids. Black fluids. I retched. I crawled away from the corpse. Towards the trailer. The trailer lay on its side. Like a beached whale. The scratching was back, but it wasn't rhythmic anymore. It was frantic, animalistic. Scritch, scratch, scritch. Hundreds of fingers clawing at the steel walls. And the smell. The crash must have cracked the container. A smell drifted out. Not diesel. It was the smell of unwashed bodies. Urine. Fear. And something sweet. Rotting fruit? Or gangrene? I dragged my broken leg through the mud. I reached the back doors. The red lead seal, rule number 2, was dangling. Mocking me. I smashed it with the tire iron. Clang. I grabbed the latch. It was bent. Jammed. I pulled with everything I had left. My muscles tore. With a screech of tortured metal. The doors popped open. Darkness poured out. And silence fell instantly. I shined my flashlight into the hole. I expected to see people sitting on benches. Or huddled in blankets. I didn't see that. I saw a meat locker. They were packed in. Tight. Standing room only. But because the truck tipped over, they were a pile. A tangled mess of limbs. Heads. Clothes. Eyes reflecting the light. Dozens of them. Some were blinking. Some were staring straight ahead. Glassy and unmoving. They weren't screaming anymore because they were too busy trying to breathe under the weight of the dead. I tried to reach in. To pull someone out. A hand grabbed mine. Cold. Clammy. It was a young girl. Maybe Sarah's age. But her skin. It was gray. Help him. She whispered. Pointing to the boy beneath her. He stopped moving. I pulled her out. She was light as a feather. Starved. I pulled the boy out. As I pulled more people out, I noticed something else. Some of them. The ones at the very back. They were wrapped in plastic. Like meat. They had surgical scars. Fresh ones. Kidneys. Livers. Corneas. This wasn't just human smuggling. This was a harvest. These people weren't going to start a new life. They were spare parts. Mr. V wasn't a broker. He was a butcher. I vomited into the mud again. The bile mixing with the blood on my lips.
Okay.
The highway was suddenly bathed in blue and red light. State troopers. Ambulances. They swarmed the scene like ants. Hands up! A trooper screamed, aiming a rifle at me. I couldn't lift my hands. I was holding the dead boy. I just looked at him. Check the trailer. I croaked. Check the goddamn trailer. The trooper looked past me. Into the open doors. His face went pale. He lowered his gun. He took off his hat and vomited right there on the asphalt. They set up a triage center on the highway. Yellow blankets everywhere. I sat on the bumper of an ambulance while a medic wrapped my leg. I counted the bags. Black bags. Small bags. 12 dead. 18 survivors. 12 people died because I wanted $50,000. 12 people died because I didn't ask questions sooner. The survivors didn't look at me with gratitude. They looked at me with hollow, haunted eyes. They knew I was the driver. I was one of the monsters. A detective walked up to me. He didn't look angry. He looked sad. "We found the car," he said, pointing to the crushed sedan. "We know who he is. Cartel enforcer." He put a hand on my shoulder. "You saved 18 lives tonight, Jack, but you also transported them." He pulled out a pair of handcuffs. "Turn around." I didn't resist. The cold steel felt right on my wrists. I deserved it. I looked back at the beast one last time. She was lying dead on her side, bleeding oil into the dirt, just like the rest of us. They traded my 18-wheeler for a 6x-8 concrete box. Federal Penitentiary. Protective Custody Unit. Because I testified against the cartel. I'm a target inside. 23 hours a day in lockup. It's quiet here. Too quiet. I miss the roar of the engine. It drowned out my thoughts. Here, my thoughts echo off the walls. And when I close my eyes, I still see them. The eyes in the trailer. The pile of bodies. Mail call. The guard slid a plain manila envelope under my door. No return address. It had passed inspection. It wasn't a bomb or drugs. I opened it. Inside was a single piece of paper. A child's crayon drawing. It looked like Sarah's style. A house. A sun. But the details were wrong. The house was on fire. And the sun was black. And standing outside the house was a stick figure of a man, holding an umbrella. They weren't threatening me. They were showing me they could reach my memories. Dinner was meatloaf. It tasted like wet cardboard. I was eating mechanically, staring at the wall. Then my teeth hit something hard. I choked and spit it out into my hand. It wasn't a bone. It was a small, round piece of red lead. A security seal, exactly like the one on the trailer. Rule number 2. The guards didn't put this there. The kitchen staff did. Mr. V has employees everywhere, even serving the prison food. I realized I hadn't swallowed the seal, but I had swallowed the message. At night, the prison plumbing groans, pipes banging, water rushing. But lately, I hear other things in the pipes. Scritch. Scratch. It sounds just like the fingernails on the trailer wall. Sometimes I hear whispering coming from the ventilation shaft. Why didn't you open the door sooner, Jack? It was so hot in there. Jack, I know it's in my head. The prison shrink says it's PTSD. But what if it isn't? What if the ghosts followed me inside? They moved me out of protective custody today. Overcrowding. They said, I got a cellmate. His name is Tiny. He's 300 pounds of muscle and prison tattoos. He didn't say hello. He just took the top bunk. He just lies there, staring at the ceiling. He smells of cheap cigarettes and something else. Mint and gun oil. The same smell as the man in the suit at the rest stop. They didn't send him to kill me. Not yet. They sent him to watch me sleep. I got a visitor. My public defender, I thought. But when I walked into the visitation booth, it wasn't him. It was a man in a suit that cost more than Mr. V's. He sat on the other side of the reinforced glass, smiling. Jack, he said smoothly, I represent a concerned party. He didn't give a name. My client is very disappointed in your performance. You broke all 3 rules. He spoke politely, like we were discussing a bad stock investment, not a massacre on the highway. He slid a photo through the slot. It was Sarah, my daughter. She was walking out of the hospital, smiling, on her own 2 feet. The operation was a success. The bill had been paid. Anonymous donor. But then I looked closer at the background of the photo. Across the street from the hospital, parked by the curb, a black sedan, tinted windows. We always keep our promises. Jack, the lawyer said, the debt is paid, but now you have a new line of credit. And we are watching the collateral. You seemed upset about the cargo, he said, examining his manicure. Those people in plastic? They weren't customers, Jack. They were product donors who didn't survive the extraction process. He leaned in closer to the glass, his breath fogging it up. We don't waste anything. We run an efficient business. The horror washed over me. I wasn't saving refugees. I was driving a meat wagon for an organ harvesting ring. The survivors. They were just the ones waiting for their turn on the table. He stood up to leave. You're a good driver, Jack. Shame about the morals. Enjoy your stay here. Tiny will take good care of you. He paused at the door. Oh, and don't worry about Sarah. We'll keep an eye on her. As long as you keep quiet in here, she stays healthy out there. He smiled one last shark-like smile. Consider it an ongoing contract. Lifetime employment. I went back to my cell. Tiny was still on his bunk, staring at the ceiling. I lay down, clutching the photo of Sarah. She was walking. She was happy. But in the corner of the photo, the black car waited. I saved 18 people that night. But I sold myself. And I sold my daughter's freedom. I am no longer driving the beast on the open road. I am the cargo now, sealed in this concrete box, waiting for delivery. You think this is just a story about one unlucky driver? Look at the map. The Interstate highway system. 48.000 miles of asphalt. It's the veins of this country. Blood and money flow through it 24 hours a day. And just like veins, there are parasites. Every day, thousands of trucks pass you. You don't look at them. They are just big, noisy obstacles. But you should look. Watch out for the ghost trucks. Plain white cabs. No company logos. No "How's my driving" stickers. They are clean. Too clean. They usually run at night. 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. The witching hour. If you see a convoy of 3 white trucks driving close together, stay away. They aren't carrying Amazon packages. They are carrying things that don't exist on any manifest. And look at the trailer. If you are driving through the desert, and it's 100 degrees outside, but you see condensation dripping from a metal trailer that isn't refrigerated, that's not morning dew. That's sweat. Hundreds of gallons of human sweat and breath, condensing on the cold steel. It means the cargo is hot. Literally. If you stop at a rest area at night, don't park next to the trucks in the back. That's their territory. If you see a truck parked far away from the others, under a broken light, and you see a black sedan parked next to it, do not walk your dog there. Do not go ask for directions. Get back in your car. Lock the doors, and leave, because you might hear something you aren't supposed to hear. And once you hear it, you become part of the liability. And it's not just trucks. Watch the cars around them. Have you ever seen a sedan drafting a truck? Driving dangerously close to the bumper? You think it's just a bad driver saving gas? Maybe. Or maybe it's the tail gunner. Checking the locks. Watching for police. Making sure the driver doesn't get cold feet like I did. If you cut between them, you are breaking the chain. And they don't like it when you break the chain. Are you listening to this while driving? Are you on a long trip right now? Check your rearview mirror. Is there a car behind you? How long has it been there? 10 minutes? 20? Is it maintaining the exact same speed as you? Maybe it's nothing. But maybe you saw something miles back. Something you didn't even register. And now, they're just making sure you don't make a phone call. If you do see something, if you hear screaming from a trailer, don't be Jack. Don't try to be a hero. You don't have a 30-ton truck to fight with. You have a sedan. Call 911. Give them the plate number. And back off. Let the professionals handle it. Because the desert is big. And there are plenty of empty holes waiting to be filled. Remember, the highway belongs to them. We just rent space on it. They move the food you eat, the clothes you wear, and the people you never see. We are just guests in their world. So drive safe, stay in your lane, and never, ever look inside the trailer. This has been a log from the Night Watch. Signing off from Cell Block D. Good night. And good luck.